I help late diagnosed ADHD professionals in leadership roles master their executive function so they can perform at their peak without the constant exhaustion and self-doubt that's been holding them back. Now, I've worked with senior leaders across technology, finance and professional services, and I understand exactly how this works because most ADHD professionals are stuck chasing the wrong solution entirely. You see, performing at your best isn't about working harder or trying another productivity system. Here's the thing, you probably already know enough strategies to be successful. Think about it. You know you should be delegating more, you should be managing your energy better, and you know you should be having those difficult conversations instead of avoiding them. And you know you should stop overcommitting and learn to say no. The reason these strategies don't work isn't because they're wrong, it's because something inside of you prevents you from executing them consistently. Most ADHD leaders think they need more tactics, but the truth is they need to understand and work with their ADHD brain and not against it. Maybe you've tried figuring it out alone, reading every ADHD book and article you can find, getting lost in your own research rabbit holes. Maybe you've worked with therapists or other coaches, but didn't get the support that you actually needed to break through your executive function challenges. Maybe you've been in leadership roles for years, but you're still struggling with the same patterns. The procrastination on important decisions, the emotional dysregulation in high-stakes meetings, the constant fear that someone will discover you're not as capable as they think you are. And you're probably still stuck overthinking everything, still questioning whether you're actually good at your job or just lucky. And sure, you're getting results now and then, but then you sabotage important presentations by over-preparing to the point of exhaustion. Or you avoid crucial strategic work until the last minute. Then you probably catastrophize everything and start wondering if you'll ever feel confident and in control the way other leaders seem to be. And honestly, I don't blame you, because most ADHD professionals think that the solution is out there somewhere. Another app to try, another system to implement, or another expert to follow. And on top of that, you're already consuming endless content about ADHD management, productivity hacks, and leadership strategies, with tons of different ideas about what you should be doing. One expert says medication is everything, another says it's all about routines, someone else swears by specific time management techniques, and everyone has a different opinion on disclosure and accommodations. You probably have so many ideas spinning around in your head that you can't pick an approach and stick with it. Well, here's the real problem. Even if you picked the perfect strategy, your ADHD patterns would still keep you from executing it consistently. The issue isn't more information. It's understanding how your specific ADHD brain works and building systems that actually work with your neurology, not against it. And here's what's scary. Those patterns, they don't just go away on their own. They get worse over time as the stakes get higher in your career. Every promotion that increases your responsibilities without addressing the underlying executive function challenges makes it harder. Every failed attempt to just try harder erodes your confidence more. And every time you succeed despite your struggles, you're reinforcing the belief that you have to suffer to succeed. You are literally programming yourself to burn out. So here's what makes my approach completely different from every other ADHD or leadership coach out there. I don't give you generic ADHD strategies that worked for someone diagnosed at 7, or leadership tactics that assume neurotypical executive function. I've lived this. I was diagnosed at 48 after 20 years in senior leadership roles. I know exactly what it's like to succeed despite your ADHD, wondering when it will all fall apart. This isn't just about external strategy or generic ADHD tips. It's about understanding your specific, late diagnosed experience and building sustainable systems. We identify the exact executive function challenges impacting your leadership performance, and when you understand and work with these instead of fighting them, you stop spending Sunday nights dreading Monday because you'll have systems that actually work. You'll stop avoiding difficult decisions and start making them with confidence. And you'll stop questioning every leadership action and start trusting your judgment. You'll be able to build a sustainable leadership career without constant exhaustion or the fear of being found out. This is very straightforward. I help late diagnosed ADHD professionals in leadership roles understand and master their executive function so they can perform at their peak without burning out. If that sounds like what you need, then book a discovery call with me using the link below. Now, let me show you exactly how this works. So Mike came to me feeling completely overwhelmed. Senior role at a major tech company, late diagnosed, struggling with the same patterns you probably recognize. Procrastination on strategic work, emotional dysregulation in meetings, constant imposter syndrome. But here's what happened. First, we identified his specific ADHD patterns and how they were showing up in his leadership role. He was hyper-focusing on tactical work to avoid strategic thinking and catastrophizing every difficult conversation before it happened. I helped him understand why his ADHD brain does this and built systems that worked with his neurology instead of fighting it. Within weeks, Mike was making strategic decisions with confidence, delegating effectively, and showing up to high-stakes meetings feeling prepared rather than panicked. More importantly, he stopped living in constant fear that his ADHD would derail his career. These results happen when you stop trying to be neurotypical and start working with your ADHD brain. I've closed my first coaching client successfully using these principles, understanding the late diagnosed experience, building on strengths rather than fighting weaknesses, creating sustainable systems rather than heroic effort. And now you may be thinking, can't I just figure this out myself? Look, if you could, you wouldn't be reading this right now. You've been trying to figure this out for how long? Since your diagnosis? Maybe years before that, not knowing what was wrong. And in that time, how many strategies have you actually learned? How many books have you read? How many different approaches have you tried? I bet it's a lot. So the problem isn't that you don't know what to do. The problem is that you're trying to apply neurotypical solutions to neurodivergent brain. The leaders thriving with ADHD aren't doing this alone. They're using systems built specifically for how their brains actually work. Now, you may also be thinking about the investment. I get it, but here's what I want you to consider. Every month that you stay stuck in these patterns, you're not just struggling personally, you're actually making it harder to succeed later, because these patterns become more entrenched as the stakes get higher in your career. Every month you wait, you're not just accepting unnecessary struggle, you're risking burnout or career damage when the demands outstrip your unsustainable coping mechanisms. And here's the worst part. You're amazing at what you do, but you're spending so much energy managing your ADHD in secret that you're not showing up as the leader you could be. The leaders who invest in understanding and working with their ADHD see results quickly because they're finally addressing the root cause instead of just trying harder with neurotypical strategies. But this isn't for everyone. If you're looking for someone to just give you a magic productivity app, this won't work. If you think success should come without honest self-examination and effort, this isn't for you. This is specifically for late diagnosed ADHD professionals who are currently in leadership roles and are ready to stop fighting their brain and start working with it. You need to be willing to look at your patterns honestly. You need to be ready to try approaches built specifically for ADHD rather than just applying neurotypical strategies harder. And you need to have the resources to make a real investment in your career and well-being. If that's you, then book a discovery call with me using the link below. But understand this. Every day that you wait is another day of unnecessary struggle. Every day you delay is another day that you train your brain that burnout is just the price of success. The leaders who break through to sustainable high performance with ADHD aren't smarter than you. They just stopped fighting their neurology and started working with it. Because here's the brutal truth that nobody talks about. If you don't address these patterns now, when will you? After the next promotion, when the stakes are even higher? After a burnout, when the damage is already done? Or in 5 years, when you look back and realise that you've been suffering unnecessarily this entire time? These patterns, they don't fix themselves. They get worse as demands increase. Now, there are no guarantees in life, but if you guarantee to do the work, I guarantee you this will work. Because the only thing standing between you and sustainable peak performance isn't more tactics, it's understanding and working with your ADHD brain instead of fighting it. If you master that, the results become inevitable. So book your discovery call below and let's end the unnecessary struggle that's been holding you back.